Pressure is growing by the minute. More Democrats are calling for Joe Biden to step down as the presidential nominee. Joining me now live is Professor of Political Science at Cypress College, Peter Matthews. Good evening to you. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. Good evening. So no indication that Joe Biden wants to step down, but we are seeing increasing pressure. What are your thoughts on this in regards to potentially Joe Biden? Does he need to step down?
Well, I think as far as the pressure goes, it's increasing. You got, for example, the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. They're all have been said to have actually talked to him and urged him to step down and allow a new process to get other candidates who's going to be replacing him, which would be stronger. My position, looking and observing what's going on, is that something has to be done as soon as possible. I mean, right away, almost. One way or the other. We cannot go into this limbo where you don't know which way we're going one way or the other. Is the Democrats going to have President Biden as a candidate, or are they going to have someone else like the Vice President Kamala Harris or someone else? It has to be decided soon. It can be decided. There are procedures for replacing a candidate if he decides to step down. And they want him to do it voluntarily, so there's no acrimony and division in the party.
And there's talk of an open convention, if that happens. And Kamala Harris, her popularity in the polls, what are we seeing?
We're seeing that she's doing better than President Biden in the polls against Mr. Trump. And I think she might be a stronger candidate at this point if people put her in there after President Biden steps down voluntarily. So there's no acrimony. But still, I think you look at Kamala Harris's numbers and you'll see that she's been getting stronger and stronger as a leader, as a vice president, and speaking out on very key issues for Democrats like the economy and abortion choice. She's coming across much better now. She'll be a stronger candidate, more than likely. We'll have to see how it goes, and she can get in there without any kind of real division in the party, then it would probably work.
Donald Trump has made one of his longest speeches in Republican National Convention history, 93 minutes worth. He talked about unity and bringing the country together. What's your analysis on his speech?
I watched the full hour and a half speech. It was the longest speech in the history of the Republican Convention, I believe, but it was something that was well taken, especially at the beginning, when he started out showing they wanted to unify the party at least, and he kind of reached out to unifying the country as well. But then the speech actually moved into a more confrontational territory where he was criticizing, different Democratic leaders and Mr. Biden. We mentioned him once, but he also brought in other people in the party itself, and he was really pushing for the Trump's platform from the previous election. Very anti-immigrant, at least undocumented immigrants. He went after that, and he talked about the various problems with crime, And he tried to, I think, bring back a situation where people are afraid and need a leader to help them, to protect them, protecting style leadership. That seemed to come across. And let's see how it goes, because it seemed, from the Republican point of view, quite a unified convention overall so far. The 5 days are there, 4 or 5 days, and especially J.D. Vance's speech. That seemed to be kind of inclusive and inviting. Still sticking to a Trumpian political platform, though. Pretty much what has been going on for the first 4 years of the Trump administration, what they really want to bring back, I think, in fuller force.
And Professor Matthews, what's your take on the questions that's facing the Secret Service after the assassination attempt on Mr. Trump?
There are definitely some questions that have to be answered. How could, for example, not have any sniper shooter, the counter snipers from the Secret Service on the roof of the very building from which the shooter was able to shoot Mr. Trump and at least hit him in the ear? That was something that. Why wasn't there a sniper from the, keeping track of that and making sure that the president would be pushed off the stage before this horrendous act could have happened? And you have to look at also the citation of the shooter from some of the observers, the people who were outside the peripheral area, the central area. They were outside in the periphery, but they're right next to the building where the shooter was walking around, and they were telling the police there that it looks like a man with a gun up there, and the police were kind of. I'm talking about the local police, not the Secret Service, but the local police, I believe, were not really paying much attention to. They were kind of confused about it. And all those questions have to be answered. And it's a really good thing that President Trump was not it wasn't an assassination. It was a near assassination. It should tell us how dangerous things are and how things have to be tightened up a lot more. And it could have been a lot more tragic.
Oh, it certainly could, but we really appreciate your time and expertise. Professor Peter Matthews, take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Okay. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. Great to have your company coming.